Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax. A lot to talk about, but first, let's say hello to meteorologist Jill Gilardi. Get the details on that first alert forecast. Good morning, Jill.
Yeah, it's always that first step out the door. It's like, okay, how am I going to feel? I'm like,
yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
Feels nice out there today.
It was a chill that Jill is loving. So,
Yes.
yeah, a nice refrigerator. And I did that, yeah. Sometimes my name rhymes with the weather, but yeah, normally it is, not chilly around here this time of year, but there is a nice chill to the air. Quite a significant change in the past 24 hours. We've been tracking this morning, some 40s even. Look at that, upper 40s still in Norwich, otherwise 50s. All these numbers below average, but it is a welcome change after all that heat and humidity. Torrington, still pretty looking out there. The sunrise was gorgeous. On my way in, I had a stop sign, of course, take a little picture and then proceed. But we're talking about the forecast today where it's going to be phenomenal to be outside doing anything. That morning walk is going to feel like the best morning walk. You feel like it could go longer and farther and farther because it's just not taxing the heat or humidity. That's not a part of our forecast. And temperatures are going to be a little lower than they were yesterday. A few more clouds across our sky today, but all in all, it is a beautiful one and falling short of average. And we're all loving these 70s, just feeling amazing out there with that low humidity. Now, yesterday, once upon a time, for Wednesday, it just didn't look like we were going to see rain. And now, things have changed. So this area of rain you're seeing across the Great Lakes, that is heading our way. And our rain chances are so much higher now for tomorrow. And I can't wait to share that model data with you. Of course, we've got to keep up with the impacts we'll start to feel, especially along the shoreline regarding Major Hurricane Erin. That is going to be coming up here again a little bit later, but let's get an update on traffic for now with Miss Marcy. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jill. Good morning, everyone. Lots of spots of construction around our areas have cleaned up, thankfully. I do want to give you a little bit of the first alert. This is pretty typical for this time of morning as this morning commute starts to pick up, but if you are going southbound on both 95 as well as Route 15 in areas like Trumbull, Fairfield, Norwalk, Bridgeport, all of that really seeing a lot of heavy congestion and delays about 5 miles at a time. So just make sure if you are heading that way to definitely remember your patience as well as plan a little extra time for your commute. Other than that, things are looking great across our state. No incidents or accidents to report. Just checked in with DOT. So let's keep it that way. All the drive times looking very typical for this morning. So that is excellent. That's your Connecticut Chevy First Alert Traffic Report driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
A heartbreaking update in Hartford this morning where officials are still trying to figure out what caused a fire that killed 4 members of the same family, including 2 children.
Yeah, so this happened on Schultes Place in the city's south end early yesterday morning. Your reporter Taylor Knight tells us more about the family that lived there.
Caitlin, Tracy, police have the area in front of the home on Schultes Place still blocked off more than 24 hours after that fire. Also in front of this house, you can see a memorial has been built here. Candles are burning, balloons are floating outside this charred and destroyed home. Hartford police have not released the identities of the victims at this point, but Channel 3 did speak with a woman who says that her son started dating one of the women that was killed when they were just 15 years old. Kateria Charles says her son's girlfriend was killed in the fire along with her 2 sisters and nephew. 4 other family members were taken to the hospital along with a firefighter. They are all expected to be okay. Charles tells us her son's girlfriend, 21-year-old Crystalee Hernandez, lived with her family for 6 years before she moved back to Schultes Place to be with her mom. She says Crystalee's 25-year-old and 14-year-old sisters were killed, along with her 3-year-old nephew.
They were awesome. They were great. She loved her son. That was her only son. She was a great mom. Crystalee was a great aunt. She loved all her siblings, even her nephew. That was her world.
The Hartford Fire Department is still investigating exactly what happened inside of this home. Channel 3 is working to find out if there were working smoke alarms at the time of the fire. Your reporter in Hartford, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And we're on top of breaking news from overnight. We have new information about a fire at UConn's John Dempsey Hospital in Farmington. UConn officials tell us the hospital is back to regular operations this morning after having to divert emergency patients to other hospitals for several hours. The fire broke out last night around 11 in a supply room where staff keep sterile supplies for surgical procedures. Patients had to be moved around while crews responded, but no one was hurt.
Well, right now, we're on top of some developing news in Hartford, where police need your help finding a suspect after a shooting late last night there. Pinpoint News Tracker takes you to the scene here on South Marshall Street. We're told the victim brought himself to the hospital, and we're working to find out more about his condition. If you have any information, call police.
Right now, police in New Haven are working to address safety concerns after two shootings in the city early yesterday morning. Police say one person was shot and killed during an argument near Ferry and River Streets, and a second person was hurt in a shooting on Shelton Avenue a few hours later. It comes after a deadly shooting near the Yale University campus early Sunday morning. And just last week, police highlighted a drop in violent crime so far this year. Police are still looking for suspects and are adding more officers downtown on weekends.
Right now in East Hartford, police are looking for two men accused of stealing from a gas station and a car dealership. Police say the men broke a window to get into the Kia dealership on Connecticut Boulevard and stole two cars. They then allegedly went to the mobile gas station on Silver Lane and threatened the clerk there with a knife before demanding money. Police say they took the cash register, which had about $300 in it, and drove away.
Well, this morning, Air Canada has reached a tentative deal with the union representing thousands of flight attendants who've been on strike since Saturday. This news breaking in our newscast just about 30 minutes ago. Right now, the agreement still needs to be approved by flight attendants who defied back-to-work orders from the government. The airline says all flights remain grounded through at least this afternoon. Almost 2,000 flights have been canceled so far. Well, this week, the Department of Transportation is moving forward with plans to keep you safe on the roads.
Yeah, they're installing wrong-way driver detection systems in a few towns around the state. Your reporter Anna Stansfield explains how they work.
The signs actually have video cameras inside of them that are able to detect if someone is driving the wrong way. And of course, if it does find you driving the wrong way, it's going to immediately start flashing red lights, letting you know it's time to turn around. It's all about keeping you and other drivers safe on the road. The DOT conducting a study taking a look at more than 700 ramps across the state, ultimately determining that 236 of them are high risk based on things like lighting, proximity to bars, and a history of wrong-way incidents. They've already installed many of them across the state, now working to bring them to highways in Windsor, South Windsor, Farmington, Cromwell, and Rocky Hill. Crews are normally out on the roads putting them up sometime between 7 p.m. and 3 a.m. and they're expecting this round of installation to be done by Thursday. And the DOT's Highway Operations Center as well as state police will receive a real-time notification from these signs if it does detect you driving the wrong way, allowing them to keep an eye on the roads at all times, making sure they're as safe as possible. I'm your reporter in South Windsor, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Right now, President Trump says he's working to set up a meeting between the presidents of Ukraine and Russia as world leaders try to end the ongoing war between the two countries. Ukraine's president and European leaders visited the White House Monday after President Trump's meeting with Russia's president in Alaska last Friday. President Trump says the U.S. would support security guarantees for Ukraine, which are meant to prevent Russia from invading once again once the war ends. The two sides also need to work out whether Ukraine will give up any land to Russia.
Well, this morning, leaders from our state say they're skeptical about whether President Trump's efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war will be effective. Senator Richard Blumenthal says the U.S. needs to be tougher on Russia and give them no chance but to end the fighting.
People are being killed in Ukrainian cities and towns because Putin is continuing to murder them. And this kind of aerial reign of terror is going to continue as long as we fail to stand up to Putin.
Now, Blumenthal also says he supports a proposed security guarantee that would offer Ukraine protection from future attacks after the war ends.
New this morning, we've learned the Justice Department will turn over records in the Jeffrey Epstein case to a congressional committee on Friday. The committee set today as the deadline for the records after issuing a subpoena. The panel is also seeking testimony from 10 witnesses in the case and heard from former Attorney General Bill Barr yesterday. Also this morning, a state lawmaker is reacting after threats were called into his office. An extremist group allegedly made these calls to the office of State Representative Corey Paris after he posted a video on social media telling people in Stamford about ICE agents in the city. That post ended up on the official X account for ICE, who then tagged the Department of Justice. The calls included threats and racial slurs. Representative Paris issued a statement saying he is being wrongfully targeted and added that he will not stay silent when the safety of his neighbors is at stake.
Today, doctors and lawmakers will push back against a plan that could cause schools in our state to lose federal funding. The U.S. Department of Health is considering cutting funding from states with strict vaccine requirements. And the CDC says Connecticut is one of them, has the highest MMR vaccination rate among kindergartners in the U.S. Some health experts believe the high vaccination rates have helped keep the state measles free, while neighboring states have had reported cases.